The Free Your Brain text, disproved and refuted by a simple explanation, found in the writings of Emanuel Swedenborg. The Free Your Brain text's shell's borrowing premise, an absurdity and impossibility. Quote from The Spiritual Diary, number 1582. Moreover, that a spirit should be able to pass into the body of another, and live in that body, is at once absurd, and impossible, for the consequence would be, that the form of one would be changed into that of another. The interior substances of the man, would be entirely emptied out, and the substances of another applied, in their stead, to the fibers and vessels. While at the same time all that which had contracted a nature, in the life of the body, and been wrought into obedience to its proper form, would be assumed. By Swedenborg, from sacredtexts.com. Following are related quotes from the Free Your Brain text, DISSAHC, Artificial Synchronicity and Language Manipulation. They read your mind, and live as characters on Earth. Your beloved wife is not from this world. She's wearing a teen shell. They respect your love. Next quote. She has her crystal activated, and the ability to change shells in less than 30 seconds, among dozens of other foreign skills you know. Next quote. Let's say, now that your beloved one appears in your routine, using several shells. To define what kind of relationship you want with him. Or do you believe he just borrows the shells he uses for a moment, just to be with you, and that he leaves these shells, as soon as he is not anymore in your presence? Next quote. She knows that you would accept any other shell different from that one. Perhaps she is going to change shells sometimes, to help your brain not become confused with the illusion of shells valorization. Remember, shells are just like modeling clays. Next quote. The majority of foreigners, it varies according to their places of origin, are able to occupy up to 3 shells, and therefore pretend up to 3 characters at the same time. Now think with me, wouldn't psychologists say of them that they have a mental disorder, or a disturbance caused by triple personality? So if one of these foreigners is speculating over your brain using the psychologist approach, you can mentalize triple personality disturbance. Next quote. Foreigners of our side are very spiritualized human entities that have nothing to do with the alien insects shown in Independence Day, or with the foreign lizards of the Othurb side shown in the TV show V. They can change human bodies or human shapes hereinafter called shells in a hurry if necessary. Depending on the race, each foreign individual can operate up to 3 shells at the same time in the stage world. They can borrow shells from one another, like if they were changing clothes in a closet. Each shell is given a character in the stage world. Each character is given a character guideline, identity, job, family ties, emotions, opinions, idiosyncrasies, etc. Next quote. They have witnessed dozens of times foreigners from our side changing shells before them in a question of seconds. Depending on the area you are, the great majority of them don't present the illusion of vampirism anymore. They know very well that shells are just modeling clays, and some of them have even altered slightly their very shells. All this means they see other people as they are, human beings as spiritual beings. Human beings are luminous cocoons, to use the term coined by Carlos Castaneda. Next quote. 26. Everything your sisters or brothers have to offer you, your beloved one can offer you too. Theoretically, every element that their characters have to offer you, your beloved one also has. They used to establish a dichotomy between having true love with your beloved one, or having sex with a lot of kundalinic shells of other girls or boys, whom they call your sisters or brothers. A symbolic representation of this dichotomy is seen in the movie My Stepmother is an Alien, starred by Dan Aykroyd and Kim Basinger. At the end of the movie, the scientist, Aykroyd, chooses to stay with his alien wife Basinger, while his brother embarks aboard an alien spaceship with plenty of fresh meat kundalinic shells to have sex with. This dichotomy is false. As a foreigner operating in the stage world, your beloved one is able to change shells as many times as needed. He is willing to use Kundalinic shells in order to treat your illusion of vampirism, or in order to marry you indefinitely with that shell. Once you do not consider this an advantage, which is not, he can use an entire collection of shells so as to treat your vampirism, just like their characters insinuate your sisters or brothers could do. And he can do this in a variety of ways, among which you can specify 2. A. You can date or marry one shell of your beloved one near official girlfriend/wife or boyfriend/husband in the stage world, and through several performances simultaneously have hidden relationships or affairs with a lot of other shells also occupied by your beloved one. Or B. You can date or marry one shell of your beloved one faithfully. In the terrestrial society, while he changes shells secretly at home whenever necessary, from times to times rotating shells, and wearing Kundalinic shells. He can even make use of surprise shells. The difference is that your foreign wife husband loves you, and your sister's brothers do not. And you love your wife husband, but you don't love your sister's brothers. A relationship with your beloved one involves the true feeling of love and happiness. It is something that comes from the bottom of your heart, no matter which shell he is using, while a relationship with your sister's brothers involves only sex and illusion, the illusion of going back home, and the trauma of auric death, sadness, melancholy, depression, regret. Next quote. And finally, always remember the following points. A. You don't have to suffer to be happy. Are you a masochist? B. You don't need to make an auric payment to be happy. C. You don't need to give up your beloved one to be judged by him/her. He/she never judges you, and he/she is not a prize to be received after you giving up. D. You don't need to give up this specific Kundalinic shell of your beloved one in order to accept an alternative shell of him/hers before being judged and rewarded with a first shell again. He/she never judges you. And by the way, if you have had a déjà vu involving this specific Kundalinic shell of your beloved one in a relationship with you, then maybe it's too late for a change. A déjà vu can determine the reality of the relationship, because you know already it is going to happen. A déjà vu is usually a glitch in the matrix. Trinity, in the matrix. Try to think of it this way, they don't deserve that you give up this Kundalinic shell of your beloved one. Now it's your time to invert the poles. Their characters don't deserve your suffering. They're cynical. Aren't you the owner of your destiny? They don't deserve to rule your destiny. The present Kundalinic level of your shell doesn't need to have an intrinsic relation with the present Kundalinic level of his/her shell, who defines reality for you. You don't need to witness this Kundalinic shell of him/hers which is already promised and reserved for you having a girlfriend/boyfriend in the stage world. If he/she has promised you that this won't happen, then it won't happen. So don't take foregone conclusions. You don't need to understand. Trusting is not in the field of rational understanding. Trusting is in the field of love. You don't need to take the initiative to approach him or her, unless evidently he/she tells you to do this. If he/she tells you to do not doing, then you do not doing, in order to stop the world and turn off the influence of their speculation over your mind. Remember, when Truman Burbank left the set, he was also turning off the speculation of characters around him, and then only then, Sylvia came to him. Love creates reality. You can create reality with your thoughts, your mind and your heart. You only have to believe hard enough. Your beloved one adores you. He/she also wants you. He/she is completely in love with you. He/she is crazy about you. Never doubt his/her love. You're the only master and owner of your own destiny. And your beloved one is the only master and owner of his/her own destiny. So if you want him/her, and he/she wants you, nobody can interfere. That's your lives. That's your love. Not theirs. Next quote. Example number 8. You hear the sentence, everything that is good is more expensive. Well, here you see another logic distortion. They are talking about goods, physical products in the stage world. They are talking about tonal element that you can purchase in a store or supermarket, for instance. On the other side, love is something intangible, undescribable, and illogical that you can't reduce to tonal element. You can't buy this product called love. You can't sell it, or rent it, or borrow it or lend it. True love is something really wonderful, that is personal and untransferable. You can't change your beloved one. That's him/her, and nobody else in the entire universe. And if you have had a déjà vu with a specific shell of your beloved one, you can't change it either. A déjà vu creates reality, because it has already happened. The subliminal message behind this speculation is, if you have tonal values, we'll catch you. Tonal values like the so-called beauty of the physical shells, or money and richness, or fame and idolatry, or social status, or intellectual recognition, or winning a contest or championship, and so on. Mentalize. Tonal values valorization inducement. They are trying to inculcate in your brain the false idea that that specific kundalinic shell of your beloved one who is going to cure your illusion of vampirism that they themselves have created through years of double talk is more difficult to be attained or reached or achieved. He/she is a deluxe product, so you'll have to pay more to have this tonal dream of yours, this piece of fine flesh, this juicy fillet, this state of third piece of equipment. What a hallucination, isn't it? So I suggest you once more invert the poles. You have to value yourself. Remember, he/she also adores you, he/she is also interested on you, he/she also deserves you, etc. Next quote. 28. For something to be created, you need first to delimit precisely its boundaries. The element that you're going to create, like the physical relationship with your beloved one in the stage world, must have concrete boundaries and specific limits, either in shape, space, or time. It is virtually impossible to create something that is vague and imprecise. The element that you're going to create must not be replaceable with other similar element. You must know very well what you want, and why. If you have had a déjà vu, you know what I'm talking about. Next quote. It's a remedy, a medicine that may be the solution for the vampirism that their very characters have created over your mind during all these years of artificial synchronicity, double talk and brainwashing. So if he/she decides to wear a kundalinic shell in order to treat your vampirism, that's because you need it. In spite of your present vampirism, you don't value shells, and neither does he/she. And because he/she is not a vampire, he/she doesn't need you to have a kundalinic shell too. Next quote. Take a look at our free sample of rational questions. What if that shell has a twin brother-sister? Wouldn't be good. You take 2 for the price of 1. And what if she has a brother-sister who is even more handsome, prettier than him/her? Don't you want him/her to change shells? Oh, come on, confess you want. Are you sure that this is the shell you want him or her to wear to be your husband/wife in the stage world? And what if this shell of him/hers has a girlfriend/boyfriend in the stage world? How could be possible that this kundalinic shell of him/hers doesn't have a girlfriend/boyfriend? Do you really trust his/her voice inside you? Ho ho ho, don't lose your time with this crap. This voice doesn't exist, it's an illusion. This voice is just like love, merely a chemical reaction of your brain. And what if she gains weight and becomes fatter, or cuts his/her long hair? Would this shell still be a valid kundalinic shell to reduce your vampirism? What if she doesn't have self-discipline? What if she becomes pregnant, if you're a man, or what if you become pregnant, if you're a woman? Can you afford a baby? What if they are twins? Can you still afford them? What if they are quintuplets? What if the baby is aborted? What if the baby is a mongoloid like you? What if? Come on. Confess that you can't stop thinking about our endless options, can you? After all, you need to flex your mental muscles under our control, of course. It's healthy. Next quote.